Oh, hi folk. D, in the garden. Where else would I be on a beautiful afternoon like this? I'm here today because I want to bring some very important things to you, the people of Ireland's attention. And first of all, I want to repeat what Tracy O'Mahony said in her statement online when she said, "People, do you know that the vast majority of so-called declared civilised Western democracy have some form of codified protection, as in it's set out in law to protect free speech for social and political opinions, except Ireland." Now, that says a lot, doesn't it, Tracy said? And I have to agree with her. It sure does. And you're going to understand exactly what she meant when she said that when I go through the rest of what I have to talk about here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon in my back garden. So, I've had a very, very, very busy past 2 weeks. I've spent 6 days at courtroom at the CCJ with Graham Carey, a young man from Finglas who voiced his opinion, his criticism. And was he angry when he was voicing it? Yes. Is that against the law? No, it's not. They wanted a scapegoat, a massive scapegoat that's well known out there in the domain of voicing his anger at the government, the establishment, the Garda, not doing the job that the taxpayers of Ireland are paying them very handsomely, I may add, to do so. So when Graham Carey got wind of reports going around his constituency, his area, that a young lady, a young girl, a young teen had been raped. It was reported to be by 2 migrants. Is that the fact and is it true? I don't know if that's true or not. But that's what went around the area at the time. He voiced his anger, and rightfully so. He voiced his criticism. His criticism was pointed mainly at the Garda, not on any ethnicity. He never once meant, I sat through every day in that court and I listened very carefully. I had my hearing aids in and I listened very carefully. And by God, not once did he mention Nigerian, African, Indian, Pakistan. He never mentioned an ethnicity. Not once. And even though woke have to agree with it because they were sitting in the courtroom grinning from ear to ear, waiting and hoping for the guilty verdict to see a young man that voiced his opinion go to prison. That's how sick these people are. That's how absolute sick they are. To carry back everything to their dirty, filthy pages, their anti-Irish pages. But I'm not even going to give them any time on this because they don't deserve it. But I never once heard him express their distaste for certain people that have such hatred for the Irish people. The people that's feeding them, clothing them, not putting them out of the country for entering it illegally, committing a crime. But this young man has every right to criticise a government that's not doing the job they're supposed to do. And the most important job is to keep the people in the country safe from attacks from outsiders invading the country. They are breaking the law 100% by entering the country illegally. Not only are they entering it illegally, but they do away with their documentations that they needed to enter the plane in the first place. Ray made it very clear they're flushing them down the toilet, they're doing away with their documents. But I know for a fact they have handlers on the planes with them and on the boats. And these handlers take their documentation. Oh yes, and they get so much out of that social welfare they earned in this country by working all their lives in it. When they get into trouble, these handlers get a call and they meet them at Dublin Airport with their papers to abscond. Now this is a fact because it was brought up in the Dáil at one stage. I'm not been trying to look for that, but I couldn't find it. I will though eventually. And anyone that has it where it was brought up in the Dáil about handlers taking their documents off them on the plane, because it was brought up in the Dáil, because it was told to a superintendent in Mullingar when the protest was at the barracks there. And not long after it was brought up in the Dáil that handlers are taking their documentation. And they do charge them. These are people that enter this country with massive criminal convictions and they can't come in the normal way, apply to come in. But the government know this because I'm going to quote a statement from Michael Martin. And Michael Martin stated very clearly, and I quote, 85% of them entering the country they are, do you all remember it? Because I do. Economic migrants, aka immigrants. They are economic migrants, Michael Martin said. They're his words. End of quote. His words. Now, he said the exact same thing as Graham Carey was saying. How is he not up on charges of incitement to hatred? Tell me that. Graham Carey was entitled, just like Michael Martin, to criticise. Michael Martin was admitting it, but it's he who was allowing it, even though he admitted it. Does that make any sense to you people? He admits it, but yet he's allowing it. He knows they're entering the country illegally, they're committing a crime, but the Garda say their hands are tied. The government is stopping them from acting on those crimes. But when Graham Carey voiced his criticism, did he voice it angrily? Rightfully so. When he heard about this young girl in his community that was allegedly raped by migrants. Was that a fact? I don't know that. I don't know who it was or who it wasn't. But it was reported to be spread all around Finglas at the time. But it doesn't alter the fact that a sexual assault on this young girl did take place and the anger was justified of the whole community. But Graham voiced it on a stream in his truck. He is entitled to criticise a government that's getting paid massive monies. Millionaires that become once they go into that Dáil. And he is entitled, as a taxpayer, to criticise them for putting his sisters, his siblings, his nieces, his nephew in danger by allowing criminals illegally enter this country. And in that video, he was voicing his opinion at the Garda. He never mentioned an ethnicity, not even once, when he was angry and saying they're in this country illegally, and they are, when they enter illegally, they are fake refugees. Because they're not a real refugee, they're a fake refugee, and he's explicitly stated, I've no problem with real refugees that's fleeing persecution. It's in the video. It's in the interrogation of hours and hours and hours. And why were they allowed to interrogate him for 3 days, non-stop? Because they fraudulently got a warrant under the Terrorism Act, Section 29 of the Terrorism Act. They knew they had no case on the Terrorism Act, but the powers that they would hold by getting a warrant under the Terrorism Act would do exactly what they wanted. Raid his home, drag him out of his home all hours of the morning, take every appliance that he has, phone, laptops. But then they went one above. The warrant was for Graham's address and Graham's address only. What did they do to go further? They went to his workplace. 10 Garda cars and vans and sped in and terrorised the life out of Graham's boss, threatening him if he didn't let him search the truck and take the truck, that they would go back and get warrants and they would tear that place apart. They terrorised the life out of that man and coerced him and forced him into letting them into the truck. They abused every power under the law. They knew they had no case on him under the Terrorism Act, but they could abuse him in every which way possible. When he asked for a rest, and I almost cried when I heard him begging them to just let him rest. Let me go in. If you're going to keep me, let me go in and have a rest and take me back out in the morning. No, you don't control this, they said to him. You don't control this, we do. And we can question you up to 12 o'clock tonight. And that was under the Terrorism Act, when they knew damn well they had no charges on him under the Terrorism Act. Then they changed it to Section 30 in the end after 3 days of interrogation. And those interrogation videos were brought into court. And the prosecution was intending on playing certain parts only, the parts that would suit them to get a conviction. They put little nibbits here and there. But he never once mentioned his anger at any certain ethnicity, religion, sex, what's under this 1989 Act. He never once mentioned them. The only time he mentioned the word Somalian was, Somalians are flooding the country. There's no war in Somalia. Why are they being allowed to flood the country? They're coming from the hellhole that they live in, and they make here like a hellhole. Why is the Garda not doing their job? Why are they not doing their job and stopping this? His anger was at the establishment, not any ethnicity. They got that video where he was angry in his truck, and they put it up to the highest level in volume to intimidate the jury. And then they went on for days to keep on playing it and keep on playing it. And every time they put it on, they put it right up there. When they wanted to play only certain parts of the interrogation, Graham stood up and said, no, you want to play any of you play it all. You played a whole lot of it. And the judge said, how many hours is it? It was hours and hours. I don't know exactly how many hours. But every day they kept going back to that part in the truck. When he would say, I wish no harm on anybody. All I want to do is stop what's going to happen in this area if the Garda don't get up and do their job. And then the detective said to him, we know there's corruption in every Garda station. We know that. But our hands are tied. If the government is saying that, we can't act on it. So the government is stopping them from acting on a criminal act of entering the country illegally. Now, I sat in there and listened to every bit of this in them courts. Graham Carey was made a scapegoat out of because they wanted to enact this 1989 Act. They wanted to enact it and get it up and running. So nobody can criticise the government and nobody can criticise the Garda for pepper spraying children. There was no riots or no even in any way, shape or form retaliation from the truckers and the hauliers. But yeah, they came out in their uniforms and attacked men, women and children. The pepper spray is only supposed to be their last resort. If someone is resisting or attacking a Garda or putting someone in the community in danger by going to attack them with a sword or a knife or something, yes, pepper spray is to be enacted, put into force. But they just walked up and started spraying people like they did in City West and like they did in other areas. Despicable. They should be done for assault, serious assault when they do that, into old people's eyes that was just standing there and couldn't get away from them quick enough. In City West, there was no riot from the people until the Garda attacked them. But then again, where they Garda? We know who was in the uniforms, and a lot of them was from City West, and they weren't Garda. I'll leave that one with you people. But why was the same treatment that was rained down on Graham Carey not rained down on a Fianna Fáil councillor? And he did specifically pick out an ethnicity, the Irish. When he voiced his anger and hatred, absolute hatred towards the Irish people, he made a statement online, and he's Abul Kalam Asad Asadi Tula Kedar. Am I pronouncing that right? I doubt it. But that's who it is for Fianna Fáil. He's a Fianna Fáil councillor. He's an IED. Not elected, but selected through the IED programme. He made a statement online, and he showed his hatred for the Irish people after 3 innocent children were set upon by an illegal that entered Ireland illegally. He was refused stay on many occasions and told to leave the country. But he was saved to stay by a government member reported to have been Leo. Abul, a Fianna Fáil councillor, an IED selected, not elected, he stated angrily, "I would like to see those that took part in Dublin riots," and I want you to hear that. "I would like to see them shot in the head." He would like to see the Irish lads that was out there showing their anger at these 3 children being set upon by this illegal in our country. He would like to see them shot in the head. But that was before. That was before he knew the shoplifters were mostly illegals. That's Fianna Fáil for you. Why was he not given the same treatment as Graham Carey and taken in for questioning under the Terrorism Act or the incitement to hatred? Someone answer that question to me, please. Then we now have running in the by-elections, Sean Kyle, CYNE, Sean Coyne, a Fine Gael, running in Galway. A man who recently stated online in an interview, protesters should physically be beaten by Garda. Oh my God. This is a man running in the by-elections to take Catherine Connolly's place that's left vacant. Yeah. Or running in the elections for whatever election he's running in. I know the by-election is Pascal O'Donoghue's one. But that's what it says in the thing, and I'm just reading out what it said in the report. He wants to strip the Irish of their Article 46.1, our constitutional rights to protest and assembly. The only thing the people want to see, he said, is a good, honest, decent beating. He claims that's what people want to see in Ireland. I'd love to see where the people said this to him. I'd love to see the stats on that. This man, Sean Kyle, is running in an election. Oh my God. Seriously. These 2 people were not investigated, interrogated, dragged out of their homes, had their car taken, had their truck taken, had their job taken, their constitutional right to earn a living taken away from them. Held and interrogated for 3 solid days, then eventually dragged into court, found guilty of incitement to hatred, when all he was doing was angrily expressing his distaste of what this government is doing in the destruction of the Irish people. The attacks, the rise in grapes, as we have to say. I think I've already said it on here, it probably won't be allowed now. is rising massively. Do we have Irish that commit these crimes? You better believe we do. Do we need more being flooded in their millions and their thousands and then reaching up so high that it's uncontrollable? It's uncontrollable. And the Garda are claiming their hands are tied to do anything about a criminal act of entering the country illegally by the government. They claim their hands are tied. They're not allowed that time. Talking about separate bodies. This is wrong, people. This man, Graham Carey, should not be facing a prison sentence. And these two people that openly, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, openly expressed their hatred for the Irish people online. But then again, the 1989 Act doesn't protect the Irish people. They're not even mentioned in it. What's happened to equality under the law? They just brushed it under the carpet. Like Tracy O'Mahony says there, that says a lot, doesn't it? Was our last words. Ireland is the only one that has no codified protection, as in it's set out in law, to protect free speech for social and political opinions, except Ireland. Speaks volumes, doesn't it? I want you people to have a good think about this. Graham Carey expressed his opinion, and he never mentioned any ethnicity whatsoever. And I'm a witness to that because I sat through the 6 days of the trial. They're using him as a scapegoat. And if they can do it to him, remember, people, they can do it to you. Over and out for the moment, from Dee's Garden.